So we were seeing about these Maven dependency scopes like compile, provided.
Recording in progress.
Okay, compile, provided. Okay, runtime. Okay, then we have seen test also. Okay, so we need to see the last two, system and import. Let me take that. So fifth one is system. Okay, fifth one is system. Okay, this is similar to just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. I'm just actually waiting for others to join. In 2 minutes, I'll start. Okay, all right. So I think, yeah, enough people have joined. I just start now. So now what is system scope? Okay. So you can say like this. So this is similar to dependency specified with this scope. With scope is similar to, so dependency specified with scope is similar to scope provided. Provided. So what is provided if you see here? Provided is the dependency specified with the scope in form that will be used only during compilation and test and not during running. Okay. Now dependency specified with scope is similar to scope provided, but that means what do you mean by provided? The dependencies will be used only during compilation and testing, but not during running. But the difference is the difference between the difference between scope provided and system is in scope provided, the dependencies will be pulled from Maven repository, either from local or central. But in scope system, so the dependencies will be pulled from the project subfolder path. Okay, the project subfolder path. That means, say you have actually a project. So whenever you specify dependencies in your pom.xml, you'll be specifying dependencies, right? Like dependency group ID. Okay, you'll be specifying the group ID, artifact ID, and all that, right? So from where these dependencies will be pulled, I told you, right? So first it will see in the local repository, right? I told you this. First it will search in the local repo, where in .m2 folder in repositories. So here it will be taken. In case if the required jars or dependencies are not present here, from where it will pull? It will pull from the central repository, from the Maven central repo. The dependencies will be pulled. Okay, the dependencies will be pulled. Now, for system dependency, for system scope, what will happen is you will actually put the jar somewhere in your folder. That means you are creating a project with SRC main folder. In main folder, you will have Java folder. Similarly, you will also have like kind of resources folder. In resources folder, you can put some lib folder. In the lib folder, you can copy some jars. See, these jars are your own jars. If you want to, that are not present in your Maven related, your own custom jars, which you want to refer that in this Maven project. Whatever the Maven project you are going to build, okay, you want to add some jars which are not related to any of these Maven repositories. So at the time, I copy this jar in this project path and add the dependency as system scope. That means, for example, if I have a dependency like this, suppose I'll have a dependency like this. So I'll have like dependency. So dependency group ID. Okay. I'll have a group ID like something like com.xyz. Okay. I'm just having like this group ID. Say this XYZ is some other project, some other custom project. Okay. Some other custom project. And we are trying to use that custom project libraries or classes in our Maven project, so that I'm adding the dependency here. So then I'll say artifact ID. Okay. And here I'll say XYZ artifact ID. And here I'll say scope as system. Scope as system. And here I'll say version. Just 1 minute. Yeah, sorry. And version as 1.0, something like this. I'm giving the version. And here I'll say system path. Here I'll give some system path like $base directory. I have to tell that this XYZ jar is present where in the code base. So I'll say resources /lib. Okay. /XYZ.jar. Just 1 minute. 1 minute. I'm getting one problem. Hello? Yeah, sorry, I got one call. System path. So next I'll say dependency. So this is how actually where this XYZ.jar. So this XYZ.jar will be placed in my project. Okay, so that this is some third party jar. This will not be pulled from any of the Maven repositories. It will not be pulled from any of the Maven repositories. This jar is locally referred from this project folder. And who will do this? We will copy this XYZ.jar in our project. And whenever we take the Maven build, this jar, which is of the system scope, will be added to this project. Okay, say for example, in my project, say for my example, in my project, let us take in Maven project. I have now, say, different in pom.xml, I have different dependencies, like dependency related to some Spring Boot. Okay, dependency related to JUnit. Okay, and dependency related to XYZ. Now, these two will be pulled from Maven repositories. For XYZ is my custom jar. This jar is not available in the Maven repositories because this is just a custom jar, local jar, where I want to add this dependency in my Maven project. So XYZ since I want to add, I'll put these two I can put as compiles are provided, or I mean compile or provided any scope, right? So what are the different scopes we studied? Compile provided, runtime test, or runtime or test, or system. Okay, sorry, not system, or test. So these two dependencies I'll specify as scope as compile provided runtime or test. But this dependency I'll specify as scope as system. Scope as system. Okay, because so these dependencies will be pulled from the Maven repositories, and this dependency will be pulled from your local path. And how this will behave once it behaves, it will behave like provided, where provided means, so scope under system is similar to provided. So what provided will tell? So provided will be the dependency specified with this scope will be used only during compilation and test and not during running. Okay, fine. And where we'll specify this path? We'll specify in the system path. Fine. Next we'll see one more dependency, a scope, which is import. So dependency specified with scope import. Okay. Dependency specified with scope import. Okay. Will be supported in dependency management section. What is this item? Say, for example, see, I have a Maven project. I think you are not able to chart. I'm not seeing any chart. You are not able to chart. Okay. I will just actually talk with admin. 1 minute. Why you are not able to chat? Just 1 minute. You're not able to chart, right? I can see you're not able to chart. Hello? ఇది DevSecOps స్టూడెంట్స్ చార్ట్ నాకు చేయలేకపోతున్నారు. ఓకే. ఓకే. You can think like this. See, there are different Java classes. This is a Java class 1. Okay, now I think you are able to do the chart. Java class 2. Next, Java class 3. Java class 4. Okay, these multiple Java classes, they can combine to a jar file. Okay, remember. See, if you follow this, you can understand easily. Okay. So, okay. Now, so these multiple Java classes, they form one jar file. Like that, multiple jar files. Jar 1. Okay. Jar 2. Jar 3. So they form multiple jar files can be one Maven dependency. One Maven dependency. In pom.xml we specify it. We'll specify in pom.xml Maven dependency. So one Maven dependency is one thing. Okay. Now, so like that, multiple Maven dependencies. Okay. Like that multiple Maven dependencies. Maven dependencies. Like dependency 1, Maven dependency 2. Okay. Maven dependency 3. Like that multiple Maven dependencies. They form a Maven project. They form a Maven project which is of type POM. And what is POM is project object model. POM will have all this. Now I'm building a new project. Now you see, I'm building a new project. So I'm creating a new Maven project. Whenever I want to create a new project in pom.xml, I need to add the required dependencies. I need to add all these required dependencies in my pom.xml. Suppose I want to add this dependency 1, dependency 2, dependency 3. I want to add in my pom.xml, I'll specify using 3 dependencies. Instead of that, if I import this POM itself to this pom.xml, Okay. If I add this POM itself in the POM.xml, automatically all these dependencies will be automatically included in here. Okay. So if I import, so if I import this POM in my POM.xml, so automatically, so what will happen is all these dependencies, okay, versions will be added in this POM.xml. So what will happen is, say for example, let us take okay. So you are able to chart, right? Okay. I'll tell you that multi-module projects, yeah. Okay. See, in my POM.xml, see what I do is I specify some dependencies like this. Dependency, okay, group ID, some G1, group ID, artifact ID, A1, something like this. I'm specifying it. Okay, artifact ID, A1, like this. Okay. Then I'll say dependency. Next, I will add G1, some F1. I'll add like this. Okay. Now what I do is I will actually add dependency management section. Dependency management section. In that I'll add dependencies. In that I'll add dependency. And in the POM.xml, I'll add dependency. I'll add group ID. Okay, group ID. And I'll say now some G group, something like, okay, I'm just giving some G group. Next, I'm putting like artifact ID. Artifact ID, some G. Next, version is 1.0. Next is, here I'll specify scope as import. And then I'll say type as POM. POM. I'll say like this. And then I'll say dependency. Dependency. Okay, dependencies. Now see, here we specified a dependency management. And here I'm ending that. And I'm ending that dependency management. So what will happen is now this, it will see that in the dependency management, we are importing this group ID G with version 1.0, where this is of type POM, and this POM contains all these dependencies. All these dependencies. And you know what? Now what actually now Maven will do is, now you see here I'm not specifying any version. I'm not specifying any version. So what it will do, you know, now it will actually, now what it will do is it will take these dependencies and replace these dependencies present with the dependencies present here. Now you see this dependency management, this of scope type import and this of type POM. And as I told you, POM contains these multiple Maven dependencies. Okay. Now this POM contains now dependencies G1 and F1. Dependencies G1 and F1. Dependency G1, G1 and F1. G1 with, okay, and dependency F1. Dependency F1. Okay. Now this is okay. This is G1. G1. Okay. Now what it will do, you know, now see, I'm not specifying any version here, if you see. So now what it will do, you know, so now whenever your Maven takes the build, it will go to the dependency management. Now it will see this of type POM. When I say type POM, this POM contains multiple dependencies. A POM contains multiple dependencies. Now this POM contains dependency G1 and F1 with this version 1.0. Now these dependencies now will be replaced with these dependencies with version 1.0. With version 1.0. That means, in other words, if I want to tell you, see, these dependencies doesn't contain version. Now, if I'm having a POM.xml with this dependency and dependencies management, okay, the versions of these dependencies, which version of this dependency I have to use will be managed by this dependency management. So here, whatever the version I specify, okay, what version I'm using, what version I want to use in these dependencies, so that will be managed by this dependency management. Suppose if I change this version to 2.0, now these dependencies now will be with 2.0. If I change this to 3.0, these dependencies will be with 3.0. So like that, I don't need to specify the version. Okay. Okay. Now, if you see, for example, this type of projects we use for Spring Boot. For Spring Boot projects, what we do is we specify Spring Boot dependency management. Okay. And here we'll specify Spring Boot version. And here we specify the different dependencies. And so what version has to be managed in these dependencies will be specified in this dependency management section. Okay. So this is not a parent project, it's an alternative to parent project. In parent project, they are inheriting that, but here we are not inheriting. We are actually associating. We are associating the POM project with this. There are two ways we can do. One with parent project where we'll inherit the parent project, and another one we are associating. So this one, if you don't want to inherit, we can specify the dependency management like this. And this POM will contain multiple dependencies, and these dependency versions will be replaced with this actually. That's why I know I don't need to specify version when I'm declaring along the dependency management. Okay. And if you see, the scope is import here. So import will be used. The scope import will be used only under the dependency management section. Okay. So it indicates the dependency to be replaced with a list of dependencies. Okay. List of dependencies in the specified forms. Okay. Declared under dependency management section. Okay. So these are all the different dependencies. Okay. Compile, provided. Next runtime, next test, next system, next import. If you remember this structure, you can understand. So multiple Java classes constitute one jar file. Multiple jar files constitute one Maven dependency. Multiple Maven dependencies constitute one form. Okay. Everyone clear, right? Now, see, this is one way where we are declaring as a dependency management, and we don't need to specify the versions here. So that what will happen now? Automatically, whatever the versions this form has, dependencies has, that will be added in these dependencies. Okay. Now we have one more scenario. I'll tell you, that is parent. Okay. Everything will be in pom.xml only. In pom.xml, after this you will add this. Okay. Suppose let us think like this. I am building two Maven projects. So this is one Maven project. Okay, this is one Maven project. So in pom.xml, okay, in pom.xml, I'm adding some dependencies. Okay, dependency, some Spring framework. Group ID, org.spring framework. Group ID. Okay. Next is artifact ID. Artifact ID. Next version. Okay, this is artifact ID, something like I'll say Spring Core. And version I have something like 5.2.3, something like this. Okay, and I'll add dependencies. Now I'm building another Maven project with the same dependency. So this Maven project A, and next this is Maven project B. Okay. Now, instead of having now you see, instead of having two different projects sharing having the same dependencies. Okay, this also is using the same dependency. Here also I'll add in my pom.xml. Instead of actually adding the same dependency here also, what I do is I create one. What I can do is I can actually use dependency management. That is one way. But another way where we'll use is parent Maven, where I'll create a parent Maven project or a parent module. And here I'll say module A, module B. I'll add them. Project A, project. And now I'll have now child Maven projects. So the same Maven project A now will be now child section. So Maven project A. Next Maven project B. Maven project B. And what I do is I inherit both from this, and whatever the form.xmls, I mean, what are the dependencies that are common between these two, like these dependencies. So what are the dependencies common? Dependencies common between these two Maven projects. Between these two projects, what I'll do is I will, instead of adding at both places, I will add that in the parent module in this form.xml. So now this form.xml will have the list of dependencies, and these dependencies will be automatically inherited to here, And I don't need to repeat. Suppose this Maven project and Maven project B are having common dependencies, 10 dependencies are there. I don't need to repeat 10 dependencies in this form.xml. And I don't need to repeat here also all the dependencies in form.xml. Instead of repeating the dependencies at both places, what I do, I add in a parent module, all the 10 dependencies, so that I can inherit this Maven project A from this parent module. This parent module is P. Now, module A is inherited from P. Module B is inherited from P. And P will have the common dependencies used in both Maven projects. Okay, to avoid duplication between Maven project A and project B, we'll have common dependencies both projects, so that these common dependencies can be declared at one place. To avoid duplication of dependencies across. Across Maven project A and B. Okay. Okay. So tomorrow we will see how to create this parent-child projects. So tomorrow we will see this example, how to create this child Maven projects. Yeah, last week no classes has been taken because last week because of Dasara holidays, no classes were not taken. Yeah, videos actually you can get that from admin. I'm not sure on that. I don't have access to the videos. I don't have access to your videos. Hope you got that my notes right that I uploaded. So hope you got the notes that I sent right. I shared this again. I shared multiple times the Google Classroom link.